Last month, 3 of my former coworkers at Amazon got laid off, and all 3 of them have mortgages. 2 of them are actually on H-1B. One of them texted me and asked, when you quit last year, did you know that this was coming? To be honest, I did not have a date, but I could see it on the wall. And in my humble opinion, as a former Amazonian, I don't think this is actually about AI as the company claims that it is. Before I quit last year, I had been at Amazon for 7 years, 5 of which was a L7 manager. To me, who had witnessed it from the inside, AI is just the cover story. What I think it really is a company trying to stop the bleeding from what felt to me like a rotting system. Today I want to record a video and share what I truly felt when I was working at Amazon and why I decided to quit last year. Before I left, for years I was in charge of this annual plan. In Amazon they call it OP1 for my entire org. And every year since the end of pandemic, the voice from the top got harsher. The message was loud and clear. The math wasn't checking out. Here's what I mean. In 2019, Amazon had about 800K employees. By 2021, over just 2 years, it doubled to 1.6 million. And this wasn't just about fulfillment centers, it was across the board. So I remember 2020 vividly. Everyone in the org was asking for headcount, sometimes for things that honestly made no sense. For example, needing 6 product managers to find UX issues on one checkout page. You would have thought that those would be turned down at the VP level, but they didn't. Almost everything got approved because somewhere along the way, I think Amazon had turned from an innovation engine to what it felt like a turf-grabbing war machine. More headcount meant more power, and more power meant more importance. But revenue and profit don't care about your org charts. So when you start to look at the financials, you start to see the problem. In 2020, Amazon's revenue per employee was around 484K. 2021, it dropped to 362K. And then 2022 dropped even more to almost 320K. And all of this, by the way, I'm not leaking confidential data. In fact, me looking at internal data at the time, it was even worse depending on the business units. So anyone who's ever owned an OP1 probably felt this in the past few years. First, the headcount asks got hotter and hotter. It became nearly impossible to get new headcount. And then came the hiring freezes. Even for your existing open headcount, you're not supposed to hire. And then the various return to office gimmicks and policies to quietly push people out without paying the packages. So if you were paying attention, you would have noticed it coming. Hence, when the layoffs actually happened, I wasn't shocked. This was written on the wall long before ChatGPT. Is AI part of it? Sure, it accelerates it. But more than anything, it's a very convenient excuse because it's much better to say in front of the board that we're investing heavily on AI and in the future versus admitting that, oops, we overhired and let politics hollow the org out. But here's the question that really bothered me. Amazon hires smart people. When I was working there, I worked with some genuinely smart engineers. So why couldn't the company turn all of this talent into results? The answer to that question is why I quit. Not because I hated my boss, we actually got along fairly well, or because I was burnt out, but I quit because I felt dead inside. So I once filmed a vlog of my workday just to see where all my time went. And on that day, I had 13 meetings from early in the morning all the way into late at night. And that wasn't even a particularly busy day because I had the time to film the vlog. What did I accomplish? Nothing. And this wasn't just me. If you're an L7 or L8 manager, your calendar is probably buried, not in innovation, but in alignment meetings, reading someone's docs, blame shifting, and framing the stories. So for example, there was one time when the global checkout page broke, meaning customers worldwide couldn't check out. This was a severe issue, but what followed wasn't fixing the problem. It was months of documents, meetings, arguments, 23 teams, 6 VPs, endless and endless blame games. And while all of that was happening, nobody was actually fixing the long-term problem because long-term fixes take time, and that doesn't solve for the next day need to score the political game. Hence, everybody was just doing quick big patches to claim the credit. Now, you multiply that with dozens of incidents a year, reorgs, annual planning, QBRs, roadmap resets, the list goes on, and you'll quickly find that you're just swamped in things that honestly have nothing to do with the end customer. And across all of those 7 years, I can honestly say that I saw 0 headquarter engineering project launch on time. Nilch. The only project that was ever launched on time was built by a Japan team. And guess what? That was the first team to let go in this whole layoff game. So at Amazon, it truly felt like technical skills aren't what gets you rewarded. So for example, on average, engineers in my org probably spend about 1/3 of their time actually coding. The rest, 2/3 of time was spent in just meetings, writing documents, and explaining things to leaders who proudly remain non-technical because they call themselves GMs. An average bug took 200 days to fix, and many bugs were just never fixed. So I joined Amazon because I believed that the company was big about customer focus, and I think it was about 10 years ago. In recent years, however, I just felt that this whole customer obsession was gradually deteriorating and rotting into this politics obsession, and slowly that just killed something in me. Getting laid off is painful, and I genuinely empathize with anyone who suddenly lost their source of income. But for some people, this might be some strange kind of reset. In my humble opinion, big tech might look invincible today, but systems rot quietly before they collapse. Even empires do. Meanwhile, growth is happening elsewhere, especially in those traditional industries where AI is changing how things were done. So for example, the big fives: logistics, energy, manufacturing, healthcare, and education. These are places that actually need builders. So I texted my coworker back and said, I did not know when the layoff would be coming. I was just in lowly L7. But I felt, to be honest, that I wasn't worth the money that the company was paying me for. And also the company wasn't worth the life I was giving it. So I left. When times change, we can either wait and then be forced to react, or jump early and try to catch the wave. I chose to jump.